Hi everyone, Monique here, Little Gems Creations 1. Today we're going to be working on a knitted cat sweater. And we're going to start that in just a moment. Hi everyone, Monique here, Little Gems Creations 1. Today we're going to be working on a cat sweater, a knitted cat sweater. You are going to need 7mm round, like circular needles, but this is the smallest ones you can get. So let me measure. I got these ones on eBay, and they are 8" for the middle part, and from tip to tip they are 15 inches roughly. So yeah, these are the needles I'm using. So I'm also using 4-ply worsted weight yarn. I'm just using some scrap for the ribbing. And to start, we're going to make a slip knot. So the way I make a slip knot, and everyone does it different, is I cross my yarn at the back. I hold where it is crossed. I go around the loop and I meet back over here and I put it through that space. And it makes a slip knot. If you have another way to do it that works better for you, by all means do it. We're gonna start by casting on 68 stitches. Now, I don't know the kind of cast on I do, but it's where you go in the stitch, pull through, then you go between the stitches, yarn over, pull through, between the stitches, yarn over, pull through, and we're going to do this for 68 stitches. So I'm at 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this sweater will fit a full-size cat. 9, 10, so a full-size adult cat. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, halfway there. You can tell I'm much faster at crocheting than I am at knitting. 35, but I like changing it up now and then. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, and 68. Okay. So make sure that all your stitches are going the right way. Okay. And now we're just going to start knitting our stitches. Well, no, we're going to knit and purl. So we're going to do a ribbing. And so make sure none of your stitches are twisted. We're going to go in the first one and we're going to knit. And then we'll go in the next, or sorry. You have to make sure that your yarn is coming from this side. Okay, so that it joins when you start your stitches. Okay, so first is going to be a knit. And that joined our round. Then we're going to do purl. And we're going to do knit and purl ribbing for 8 rounds. Now I keep track of my rounds with my little tail here from my slip knot. If you want to place a stitch marker, that is up to you. So knit and purl for 8 rows and then meet me back. Oh, so I'll show you how I knit and purl, sorry. So to do a knit, your yarn is on this side. You go in, yarn over, pull through, slip your stitch off. Move your yarn to the front. This is a purl. You go in, yarn over, and then you pull through, slip your stitch off, and then you're moving your yarn to the back. This is a knit. Knit, off, yarn to the front, purl, yarn to the back, knit, yarn to the front, purl. Now, if you want to do this the European way, you would have your yarn in this hand and you would go knit and then you'd bring that to the front and then you'd go purl. Knit and purl. I really like this way of knitting, the European way, but I was taught the other way that I started off with, and sometimes I just revert back to that because it was how I was taught initially. But you can do whichever way works for you. Okay, so 8 rows, knit and purl. Meet me back. Or 8 rounds, I guess. Meet me back. Okay, so I've done my 8 rows, or rounds. And now we're going to switch to the stockinette stitch, which, because we're working in the round, is just going to be knit round and round and round and round. Keep track of where your starting thread is, or like I said, you can put a stitch marker. Right, so mine goes right with this row. So we're gonna do knit until the whole thing measures 4 inches. Then we're gonna put our design, and then we'll come back and do the next step. So 4 inches starting from here, counting from here, okay? So do 4 inches and then come back. Okay, so I've done my 4 inches, okay? And so what I do to measure is I take one of my ribbing rows that's a knit, and I follow it all the way up to the needle, okay? So see here, 4 inches. Okay. So now we are not cutting our yarn, but we're going to start working with a different color. So this is my alternate color I'm using. Okay. So what we're going to do is, keeping with our stockinette stitch, which is just, because we're using round needles, it's just going round and round as a knit. We are going to start the next stitch with the new color. Do not cut your yarn, okay? So we are going to do 1 row of our alternating color, okay? We're going to do 1 row all the way around. And this is just to set us up for our design. So actually, we're not just going to do 1 row, we're going to do 2 rows. So 2 rows of the alternating color. Do not cut the other yarn, because we're just going to bring it up along the back. Okay, so if you're using a stitch marker, make sure you bring it up. So we're going to do 2 rows of your alternating color, or alternate color, however you want to say it. I decided I have this blue, and it's kind of got bumps in it, and I do a lot of crocheting. If you look at the rest of my channel, you'll see it's mostly crochet, and I don't like it for crocheting because of the bumps, but I really like the blue with the silk, the white silk in it. So I thought, hey, this would be perfect to use in a knitting project. So that's what we're doing. And my kitty, I have a girl kitty and a boy kitty, and the girl kitty is gonna love it. Now remember, with any kind of pet, anything that you make, it always should be worn or played with supervision. You shouldn't just leave your pet in it unsupervised, just in case, heaven forbid, something happens, okay? So I want you to do 2 rows with the alternate color, and then meet me back. And if you haven't had a chance yet, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. I'll probably remind you a few times throughout the video. And if you have any suggestions or add-ons for this video, just leave a comment. I like all comments. Well, unless they're just a mean comment, then that's no fun, but you know what I mean. 2 rows. Meet me back. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start putting our design. So taking your pink yarn from the back, we're going to do 1 pink stitch. Okay, now taking your blue yarn. Okay, so this is where doing the European stitch comes in handy. So this is what I do. So I keep my pink on my one finger and I put my blue on the other finger, and there we go. and then I go the next one and I do blue. So you're alternating pink and blue, okay? So just do that. The other way to do it is to just bring it across the back. So let me show you the other way. Okay, so we did a blue, and now we're gonna do a pink, and then we're gonna bring our blue over the top of the pink yarn, and we're gonna do, or sorry, a blue over top, yeah, and then we're gonna bring our pink over, so you're always crossing at the back, and there you go. Okay, so we're gonna do this all the way around twice. So we started with a pink. We're going to do pink, blue, all the way around twice. So the next row, you'll be putting the same color of stitches on top. Does that make sense? So the same color of stitches on top. So if you're doing a pink on this row, the next row it'll be a pink on top of the pink. Okay? So do that all the way around and meet me back. Okay, so I've done my 2 rows of the color, and this is what it's gonna look like in the back, okay? So there you go. Okay, so now still do not cut the pink, and we're just gonna repeat what we did at the beginning, and we're gonna do 2 rows of your alternate color. And again, we're just knitting all the way around. Okay, so 2 rows, and however you knit, like I was saying before, however works for you. This is what I go to. Sometimes I fall back to the way I was originally taught to knit. Whatever works for you, as long as you're consistent. And you know, you don't even have to be consistent through the whole project, just be consistent through the row. Yeah. So we're going to do 2 rows of the blue, and see, this is what you're going to get. A nice little accent row on your cat sweater. I'm not going to have it right away, but I will eventually do a written pattern, which will be available in the description. But I have a lot of patterns to write, so it may not happen right away. Just keep checking back every now and then. I make a lot of these things, and I test them and test them and test them until I'm 100% sure I like the way they've turned out. And then I sit down and write a pattern. Because honestly, with the way I do crafts, I never make anything the same way twice. That's why having this YouTube channel is quite nice for me, because I can, for a change, make something the same way twice. And since I'm a visual learner, this is right up my alley. Okay, so 2 rows of the blue. Do not cut the pink, because we're going to bring the pink up along the back. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but I hate weaving in ends. So the fewer ends to weave in, the happier I am. 2 rows of the blue, and meet me back. So I've done that, and now we're just going to measure our work again. Okay. There we go. So we're at 5 stitches, or 5 inches, sorry. So what I did was I picked a knit row from the ribbing, and I followed it all the way up. Okay. So we're at 5 inches. We are going to use just the pink, so you can cut your blue but leave a good amount of tail. Well, of course I don't have scissors handy. over there. Okay, so leave a bit of a tail. I left, I don't know what, 5 inches. Okay, now with just your pink again, your main color, you are gonna knit until from the beginning it measures 6 inches, okay? So we're just gonna keep doing our knit stitch in the rounds all the way around until it measures 6 inches. So do that and meet me back. Okay, so it measures 6 inches now. I think maybe a little bit over because I got distracted with the TV show. So now what we're gonna do, okay, so we're back at our row, our starting row, okay? So if you had a stitch marker, you'd be at your stitch marker. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna bind off 11. So you knit 2 stitches, and then you take that first stitch and bring it over, and that counts as binding off 1. Then you knit 1, take it over, that's 2 that we've bound off, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we're gonna knit 12, so we already have 1 on our stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. So what we are making here is our armholes. So now we're gonna bind off 11 again. So knit 1, knit 2, and bring that first one over to count as binding off 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now I'll be right back. Okay, so now we are working on the back stitches. So I've already got 1 stitch from our casting off. So we're just going to work these back stitches in a knit. So there's 3. We're going to count them as we go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34. Okay, now we're going to turn our work and just working those back stitches. See, so I have a space here for an arm or for a leg and a space here for a leg. So just working on these back stitches. Now we're going to do purl. Okay, so we're going to purl across these stitches. And you should end up with 34. And then working on the back stitches, we're going to do some decreases, but not on this row. This row is just a purl row. And if you noticed, I switched how I'm doing my purl. Now I'm doing purl the way I was originally taught, which is with my right hand guiding my yarn, my working yarn. So yeah, as long as you're doing the stitches continuously the same way through the row, you're golden. Because as long as the row looks the same, you're fine. Sorry, my yarn got wrapped around my tripod legs. Okay, so we're just gonna do this across. In the description, you'll find a link to my Etsy store, which has all kinds of patterns, crochet and knitting. And like I said, it may not have this pattern in it yet. I am planning to get all my patterns written down someday, because I do a lot of this just by sight. Like I was saying before, I've never really made the same thing twice, except now that I have the YouTube channel. I can, because I can go back and see what I did before. So, okay, so we're just going to purl to the end of this row. Now, we are going to decrease in the knit rows, and the purls will just be a purl row. So we'll get here. We're going to turn our work. Whoops, sorry. We're going to turn our work, and then we're going to knit 1, and then to decrease, we're going to knit 2 together. We're going to knit across the row until the last 3 stitches, and then we'll knit 2 together and knit 1. So the reverse of what we just did. So that was to decrease. And this will give us, we were at 34, so this will give us 32 stitches this row. And if you want, go and count. There's nothing wrong with counting. I I want to show you a decrease again at the other end, just so we're on the same page. And then I'll let you go on your own. And we'll meet back. Okay, so on this end of the row, I'm waiting until I have my last 3 stitches. Okay, to the last 3 stitches. Okay, so I'm at my last 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to knit 2 together and then knit the last one. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my work, and just working those back stitches, I'm going to do a row of purl. So you're going to repeat that decrease. So when you're on your knit row, you're going to go, knit 1, knit 2 together, go all the way to the end until your last 3 stitches. Then you're going to knit 2 together and knit 1 to finish off the row. And you're going to do this until you have 28 stitches, and you're only working the back stitches, okay? So we're not working these front ones. They're just staying there. Okay, so do that till you have 28 stitches, and you're finishing with the purl row, and then meet me back. So I'm down to my 28 stitches, and now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break our yarn. We're gonna cut, leave a tail, a nice long tail. Okay, and now we are going to go to these front stitches. Okay. And we are going to purl them. So we're going to purl across. We're going to work stockinette stitch for 8 rows, okay? But we're starting with the purl row. And you're going to say, if you're paying attention, you're going to say that's more than we did for the back. But that's because we're accommodating for the curvature of the neck. Okay, so we're going to do 8 rows. And it 8 rows of stockinette. So purl 1 row, turn your work, knit the other. So purl a row, knit a row, purl a row, knit a row. And we're starting with the purl row. Okay. And if you're lucky and you have a stitch counter or a row counter, by all means use it. For me, it's going to be a scrap piece of paper. Here, we'll use this, and I'm just going to put little ticks. So 8 rows total of this knit 1 row, purl 1 row, okay? Eight rows. So we already did the 1 row being the purl. Now we're doing the knit row, and they go fast because it's not very many stitches, right? It's our 12 stitches that we did. So be careful when you get to that first one because it's going to be loose, so just tighten it up. See, I just tighten it up like that, and then turn my work, put my tick. So 8 rows. Oh, 8 rows. Meet me back. Okay, so our working yarn is here off of the neck, okay? So I'm going to turn my work to the purl side, and I'm going to cast on as if I was knitting. I'm going to cast on 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, I'm going to turn my work so that I'm back with the knit side facing me. And I'm going to knit those back stitches. Okay. So I'm just going to knit all these back stitches. Careful, that first one will be loose. So you can just tighten it up after you did it. Okay, so 1, 2. So we're going to have the stitches from back here. Okay. So if you haven't had a chance yet, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And I'd love to know where everyone is following me from. Even if you're not a subscriber, just that you watch the movie, put a comment and tell me where you're from. You don't have to be specific, like your street address or anything, but just say, I'm from Texas, or I'm from Alberta, Canada, or I'm from Ireland, or wherever the case may be. I'd love to see where people are from that are watching me in my videos. I think that would be a really neat thing. Okay, so I'm at the end of my back stitches. I'm turning my work again, and as if to knit, I'm going to cast on 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Turning my work again so that my right side is facing me. And now, get those stitches. I'm going to knit 5 stitches, just 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, I want you to get your stitch marker. I have one, but it's in the other room, so I'm going to do it the lazy way and just make a yarn stitch marker. Bear with me while I do this. There we go, there's my stitch marker. And now I am going to so we're gonna do another decrease. So with your stitch marker there, oops, careful we're not falling apart here. We are gonna knit 1, knit 2 together, okay, And then we're going to knit all the way to the 3 stitches before the stitch marker. And then we'll knit 2 and knit 1, okay? So knit all these stitches until you get to the last 3 and then meet me back. I'm at the end of my row, my last 3 stitches before the stitch marker. And I'm going to knit 2 together. Oops. Knit 2 together. And then knit 1. And then I'm going to move my stitch marker. Okay. So I want you to repeat this row until you have 42 stitches, okay? So 42 stitches remaining. Do that and meet me back. Look at how cute it is so far. Okay. So I've done, and I'm down to 42 stitches. And so now what we're going to do for 8 rows, just like we did in the beginning, we're going to do our rib stitch. So we're going to do a knit 1, purl 1. I'm going to keep my stitch marker just so I know where the end of my row is. Okay, so 8 rows of knit and purl. So just a refresher. Knit, yarn in front, purl. If you do it the other way, so you would go knit, yarn in front, purl. Okay, we're going to do this all the way around until you've got 8 rows. Okay, do that and meet me back. Okay guys, so I've done my 8 rows of ribbing stitch. So knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. So now we're just going to bind off. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So we're going to continue with the knit and purl, okay? So we're going to knit this one, purl this one, and then we're going to take it over top. Okay, so that's how to do that. So knit, take it over top, purl, take it over top, knit, take it over top, purl, take it over top. Now do this all the way around. Cut your yarn, leave a tail, make a knot, and hide your threads, and you're done. This cat sweater is done. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. I try and do a new video every Thursday. Watch for it. And it could be either knitting or crocheting or loom knitting. Yeah. Or maybe something to help you with your business. Your crafting business or craft sales or whatever. Yeah. So have a great day. And thanks for watching. Bye now.